All right, fellow crafters and business owners, allow me to introduce M&P's Vibrant Designs new CISS system. Key benefits: large ink reservoirs, external waste tank, and the biggest of them all, the white ink circulation pump and mixer. Setup can be used on more than one printer model, but we'll be specifically talking about the Epson8550 today. This package will come with tools already included, such as a hand drill, also has some accessories, instructions, templates, the whole nine. Some optional tools just to make your life a little easier. Use some drill bits, a drill, mini screwdriver set, magnetic preferred, and a carbide bit or hand file just to smooth out your edges. I'm performing this on a printer that's already been converted before, but still shows you the same exact thing. Start off by taking a couple items off to get you the access you need. Try to keep up with the screws. A lot of the black screws will go with the actual black plastic pieces, and same thing goes with the silver screws on the white pieces. Right here, I'm taking off that front cover near the waste tank, which, by the way, we will be removing the waste tank, being that the CISS system will come with an external waste tank. There's about 7 of those black screws to be able to get that black cover completely out of there. You can go in any order you're comfortable with. This is just how I do it. Taking off that left front silver screw for the front cover. You can actually remove this entire tray. Just pulls out, slides on out, make it easy on yourself. Trying to get the best angle. Going back to that top cover, getting all those remaining screws out. Once you lift that compartment next to the waste tank, slide out that waste tank and you'll see another hidden screw in there. You pop the cartridge lid up, you'll find some more hidden screws under there also. You can pop this off just to make it a little easier on yourself, get it out the way. Or you can leave it on, whatever's easier for you. There are 2 screws under that lid that need to be taken out. Most of the silver screws are the same size, but that one I'm taking out right now is slightly different, so I would keep that one separate from the rest of your silver screws. After that, you can start prying up on that whole top cover. At this point, the only thing really holding in is where it clips to the front. That's me unsnapping it from that front. And it comes on up. You'll see the wiring for the waste tank. It just wraps around 2 tabs. That's it being disconnected. Then you can go ahead and get that out of your way. It'll go back in the same way. Those wires are wrapped right around those tabs. That's me pointing to another smaller screw. Again, you want to keep those separate from your other silver screws. Cartridge cover also snaps out of there. Again, it'll make it easier just getting it out of your way. That side panel is going to be what the CISS will be attaching to. Get that out the way. Again, this is a printer that I recently converted, so depending on if you have a brand new printer or one that's already been used, maybe a good idea to put a paper towel or something under those ink tubes. Can get a little messy. As you can see where they're cut, you want to cut in that same area. The best thing to do would be to wait till you actually installing the CISS on that side, so you can see where exactly you need to cut the tubes. You want the tubes to basically line up perfectly with each other so that they're not bundled up or bunching up against each other. As far as that side panel at this point, if you look in the very rear at the top, you'll see one silver screw holding it. And also, if you look at the very bottom of that side cover, you'll see another silver screw holding it. Once you take those out, the side panel will basically pull forward and then slide out the side. Now, this will be the panel you'll be actually laying that template on. This is the included instructions template, accessory, and tool bag. So we'll start with the template, lining it up on the side panel. It does have adhesive, so you just need to line it up and it sticks right on there to make it easy on you. Now again, it comes with the actual hand bit, but you have the option of using your own drill bit and drill if you have one. Makes it a little quicker and easier. All you're doing is peeling off that template and putting it right on that side panel so it lines up. There it is, all lined up. Pay close attention to those cross hatches because that's where you'll actually be drilling at. Keep in mind that template does show 4 screw holes that you're going to be making. You really only need 3. And it's actually easier doing. You're looking at that metal sliding tray, basically what the print head rides up against when it's sliding back and forth. The screw that's going to sit right next to that is the one that you don't necessarily need. You can make it work, but it is a little frustrating, so I advise to just skip it, to be honest. 3 screws are plenty to hold it securely, and it'll make your life a lot easier when you install the CISS on the side of it. That's what the screw holes made. Now you're going to open that slide up. Start ends and then open up the middle so that those ends meet. That's going to be the slot that your actual ink tubes are going to slide through. This is where you can use a carbide bit if you have that, or if you have a small hand file to kind of open that up and basically smooth out your edges. You don't want the tube sitting on any kind of sharp object. You can see in the back of the CISS, there are several tubes lined up with each other, and those tubes are going to run through that slot that you're making right now. That's the carbide bit that I use. Again, you can make it work with a filer. It just may take a little longer. The main goal is to make that slot smooth. And there's the finished slot. Again, I'm just taking a little extra time to get those edges smoothed out. There's a hand file. There it is, all sanded out, smooth. So here's the back of the CISS, so you'll be able to see how you easily put that cover on that CISS from the back side. Those are the 4 washers. There's also 4 screws that go along with that. So you're just lining up the tubes to go through that slot. Try to keep them in order. Looking at it from this angle, that top screw on the left is the one I spoke about earlier that you won't need. Once you get those screwed in, they only need to be snug. They don't need to be super tight. You can see where that waistline originally would have ran. You're going to be removing that. As you can see, that track that kind of lays under those tubes. Again, this is a previously converted printer. There's a couple options you have. You can use some dikes or some kind of cutters to actually cut out the lines or the tracks, should I say, to smooth it out. To be honest, you could actually remove it completely. It's really not going to matter once you actually have the lines connected. As long as they're not laying on nothing sharp is the main thing. So just how the cover came off where it has to slide into place, you have to do the same thing when you put this in. You're going to slide it back into place. This is kind of where I said that screw gets in the way that you don't really necessarily need. So once that's locked in place, you can move on to the next step. Change the angle so you can kind of see it a little better. Pretty much you want to take the CISS lines and kind of lay them over the factory lines. That'll pretty much give you a good idea where they need to cut at. That first line labeled WT, that's going to be the one that you're going to be connecting to that waste tank hose. You don't really want to cut the actual CISS lines. You just want to cut the actual factory printer lines, pretty much to meet up as evenly as possible where the actual CISS lines are. Then you're just going to go one by one. Keep them in order. The accessory bag will come with those straight fittings. And basically, once you cut that line, each line, you're going to put in that fitting for each line going across, going one by one. It's better to go one by one so you can keep your order. Once you're all done, it should be pretty even and look neat going straight across. Just like that. You'll have to make some other modifications on the dampers above the print head also. Looking at the dampers, if you look on each end, the one to the very left and the one to the very right, those will now be combined into one. And those two will be your actual white ink dampeners. In your accessory bag, you'll have a couple tube connections. You have the Y's and the T's. I prefer to use the T, but basically you're going to go to the dampener for each side, cut about maybe a half an inch, and then you're going to insert that T. On the other end of the T, you'll connect the original line that was already in place. For the middle part of the T for each end, you're going to put one hose connecting those two together. Basically, they'll be sharing the same cavity. At this point, you're just putting everything back together in reverse order. Line that harness up around the tabs just like it was when you took it off. Even though you're no longer using the internal waste tank, you still have to connect it back. Once you connect the connector back in place, just stuff it in place. Line everything back up and lock it back into those tabs on that front cover. Gather your black screws back up. That's what you use here to put this black cover back on. The waste tank does still need to be put back into position. Again, just keep going back in reverse order, just like you took it apart. And there you have it, all put back together. The only other thing you'll have to get outside of the accessory bag that comes with the kit will be a chip resetter. I will leave a link in the bio to where you can purchase that. The printer is still going to automatically calculate when that waste tank needs to be emptied, even though technically the factory one is not being used again. And when it prompts you for that, you simply use the chip resetter, and it basically tricks the printer into thinking that the internal waste tank has been emptied. As far as RIP software, we personally use Digital Factory 11. Either way, whatever RIP software you use, you will have to go in there and manually change your ink order to match the actual CISS. So on Digital Factory 11, from left to right, the ink order will be white, black, yellow, magenta, cayenne, and white 2. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions or maybe need help. Maybe want to have some questions before you purchase. We personally use this system every single day. It's a very simple system to use. Just simply follow instructions. We run a circulation pump and the mixer for maybe 1 minute to a minute and a half every day, first thing in the morning. After that, you shouldn't have to touch it. If you have any other ink issues, it's more than likely some kind of clog on the actual print head itself. And at that point, I recommend the shoe shine method. Other than that, keeping the ink levels and again, turning that mixer and pump on every morning or whenever you get up in the day to make sure that's happening on a daily basis, and you should not run into any issues. Thanks for watching.